And we're back. Thanks for rejoining us here at the Shadow Gallery. So, on to the next comic of the week. So we got Brightest Day number 20. This is Aqua War Part 2, and here you see that Black Manta has cut off Aquaman's hand again. There was a great line in the last issue where Black Manta basically taunts Aquaman by saying, you know, it's not like this hasn't happened before, or something to that effect. I thought that was pretty clever. You know, this was a very compelling issue. It's pretty much entirely about Aquaman. It doesn't bounce around between the different characters that are involved in the Brightest Day arc. It pretty much solely focuses on Aquaman and Aqualad and Aquagirl and Mira and obviously a little bit of Deadman there, because he is the ring bearer of the White Lantern. You know, there's still a lot of explanation. A lot of exposition that goes on here, but it's mostly action, and it's really well written action. The end did come as a huge shock to me, even though it really shouldn't have, because it's like I feel that in reading recent issues of this, that I should have kind of seen it coming. But I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but it is, I felt shocked by it, like I said, even though I shouldn't have felt shocked by it. You know, it's just one of those things where something just kind of catches you off guard. You know, Jeff Johns obviously still, you know, writing the hell out of this, and you know, the fact that they're putting it out bi-weekly is, you know, a testament to his strengths. And also, I should talk about that in the DC issues that came out this week. They do have little teasers for the next big Green Lantern event, War of the Green Lanterns. So we're going to see how that one turns out. I'm not sure exactly what that's going to be about because I don't follow Green Lantern anymore, because it's just something that I had removed from my pull box because I had too many things. And money's getting a little tight now. But anyway, Brightest Day is still a really good read, and I definitely recommend it. So we're going to go on to, these both kind of tied for Comic of the Week. So I'm going to go on to the first one. So these are both of the next ones I'm going to be covering are number 1 issues. This is a limited series. This is Hawkeye Blind Spot. It's a, you know, great cover by Mike Perkins. Interior art done by what's his name? Paco Diaz. Written by Jim McCann, who also did the great Widowmaker series that just wrapped up, I think, 2 weeks ago. It's just this is a really interesting read, because basically, you know, as you can kind of tell from the title itself, Blind Spot, you know, the subtitle, that we're dealing with the world's greatest marksman, the world's greatest archer, and basically the plot here is that he's going blind because of a blow to the head that he took during Widowmaker. So that obviously presents a problem for someone such as Hawkeye. Now, Hawkeye has long been one of my favorite characters. I was really pissed off when Bendis apparently killed him in Avengers Disassembled. I was happy when they brought him back. They brought, you know, that he, you know, took on the guise of Ronin, which I still didn't quite get why he would become someone who wielded a sword, rather than someone who still kind of wielded a bow or some kind of, you know, something that you could throw, because he can do that. You know, he's basically kind of like the good Bullseye. Even though Bullseye's never been one of his enemies, which I thought was, you know, which I think is kind of strange, you know. But I mean, it's more of kind of exclusivity to Daredevil, because obviously he's a much better foil for Daredevil than anybody else. But that's a really strong read. It touches on some really interesting stuff, really good art. So I mean, and obviously I think I have more of an affinity towards it myself because more of a subjective and less of an objective view of this because I do love Hawkeye as a character. Um, and I just think that he's really cool and somebody that I think is a little underutilized. Um, and I think that he should have his own series. Whether or not this will lead to one or whatever, again, time will tell on that. Or if there's really much interest in it. So, but again, Hawkeye going blind, and then kind of finding out who, the tease of who the villains are that are looking to exploit this. That's some pretty interesting stuff. So we're going to go on now to my, I guess to what I would say is more the issue of the week, which is Jennifer Blood, #1. This is a new series by Garth Ennis, from Dynamite Publishing. This was an incredibly entertaining read, as with pretty much all of Garth Ennis' stuff. I don't collect the boys anymore. Again, that was more of a choice to stop collecting after a little while, because it's starting to get a little old. It just kind of seemed like the same thing. It's like too many. It took too long. It was taking too long for them to kind of get on board with some of the backstory of like Billy the Butcher and or Billy Butcher, I should say. Sorry, didn't mean to include the in his name. But I do want to catch up on it now that I'm reading this, because it reminds me, because just reading this reminded me of how great Garth Ennis is. Essentially this is, it's kind of a female version of the Punisher, but a very different kind of, a very different kind of character in the sense that, she is a very suburban housewife by day, and she's gun-toting, criminal wasting vigilante by night. So it'd be really interesting to see where this goes, and it does take away from the traditional kind of narrative. I love the fact that this first issue, in fact, is called, the title of it is called War Journal, because it's her diary, as opposed to like the Punisher's War Journal. So obviously, with Ennis rebooting Punisher the way that he did back however many years ago that was, and doing such an excellent job of it. That made the Punisher popular again, made it good again, and made it really interesting again. And then bringing in the Punisher Max line, which made it get away from the superheroes and got more into the really nitty gritty shit that Punisher kind of belongs in, because he doesn't belong fighting alongside Wolverine or Daredevil, or fighting against them for that matter. Punisher War Journal, which was Matt Fraction's thing for a while, which was, okay, well, this is the Punisher in the Marvel Universe. This is the one who actually exists in Earth 616. And Garth Ennis kind of took him out of there after a while and said, you know what, this is a guy who was in Vietnam, he's older, he's in his 50s, so, this is pretty powerful stuff, once it got more into that Max line. But this is a really good read. Again, not for kids, but it's just it's really entertaining. Really good ending. I'm looking forward to more issues of this as it comes along. The artist Adriano Batista, he's really good. He's got kind of a Derek Robertson thing going. I don't know why I keep wanting to call him Robinson. It kind of looks similar to The Boys in that particular look that Derek Robertson has got, which is not a bad thing, certainly by any stretch. I like his rendition of stuff. So we're going to come back and we're going to talk a little briefly about stuff that I've recently caught up on. Some surprises. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Okay.